generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. That's what you'll find on Ken's Den, Tuesdays from 8 till 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
$809.25.
There you go. I put you right in on time.
Here on this 12th day of June, in the year 2018, Anno Domini, this is the Den, Ken's Den.
The views expressed by the host during his monologue are those solely of his own, not those of Westfield State University, the radio club, our underwriters, or most sane people. And now...
You know what, Pete?
What's going on, Ken?
Last week, you posted a memory up on Facebook.
Yes.
It was a monologue I did a year ago regarding the red rubber playground ball and the game of dodgeball.
Yep.
Basically, it seems that we don't have tag or dodgeball at the schools anymore for various reasons.
Liability insurance.
This got me thinking about other things that have gone away.
Ken's getting nostalgic.
And not all these things went away because we became wussified or some social justice warrior went on a spell.
I
I feel a list coming on.
Oh.
Zarex syrup.
Huh?
That is. That must have went away a long time ago.
Might have to
I didn't know.
explain that one.
It had a picture of a giraffe on the front of it, and it was syrup that you put over snow cones you made at home.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, me too.
Lawn jarts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yep.
Wood burning kits.
Yep.
Wacky packages. Oh, those things are so on PC
What's that?
now.
Wacky pack.
Wacky packs.
I'm
Call
lost.
wacky
All right,
packages
well,
up.
hold on.
Candy cigarettes.
When you used to blow the puff of powder out.
Powdered sugar.
Yeah.
And you used to freak out if you put the red lit end in your mouth,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Knee socks.
I don't know. Knee socks went away. You just grew out of them. Kids nowadays still wear knee socks.
Furbies.
And
I have a Furby.
Payphones. Penny candy. Nokia phones.
Nokia phones.
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Enron. Oldsmobile. Mercury.
Yeah.
Borders Books. Spuds McKenzie.
what a great dog.
Jordache.
Jordache.
Pontiac. Cigarette vending machines. Although they have them in Nevada.
They do?
Yes, all over the place. 8-track tapes.
Ah, yes.
Carnation breakfast bars.
I do remember the wacky packages now. I'm looking at them.
Clearly Canadian.
Clearly Canadian. Wow. I think, ooh,
What is
yeah.
that?
No, I
It's
think
like
I
a
remember.
soda
It was a
or-
drink,
yeah,
yeah.
or-
Beverage.
Oh, okay.
Crystal Pepsi.
That couldn't have been near her long. I don't remember that.
Gator gum. Yeah, it existed.
I believe you.
Frankenstuff hot dogs.
I do remember those.
Love them. Let's talk about those for a minute.
What are they?
These were hot dogs stuffed with either cheese or chili.
Yep.
And it wasn't like the ballpark Franks that you can buy now where the cheese is ground in with the snips and tails. These things had a tube of either cheese or chili going through the middle of them.
Extruded hot dogs.
When microwaved, the filling got hot enough to shoot fire through a child's mouth and out of his ears. Painful? Perhaps. Delicious? Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm not a dumbass, so if these things still existed, I would wait a minute or two before scarfing one down.
Okay.
But a few stupid people ruined it for the rest of us.
Darn.
We became wussified and lawsuit happy. This is why a cup of coffee is now required to have a warning on it that the contents are hot.
Couldn't they have done that on the side of the hot dog?
I like that one.
I still don't know why a curling iron has a warning on it that says for external use only. But that warning is there for a reason.
Well, you got to put it on there.
Every piece of microwave food I've looked at recently says filling may be hot. May? Mm-hmm. You're putting it into the microwave. What do you think is going to happen to it? What we really should have are proximity sensors in cell phones that use Google Earth as a reference to flash messages on the screen of your device. Think of all the lives that could be saved with that. If you take one more step, you'll be in a road and may get hit by a bus. You will fall in the river and possibly drown if you continue in this direction for 5 more feet.
Hey, Kenny, wacky packages still exist. You can buy them. 2018.
Are they like trading cards? Or something?
Yes.
Okay.
We should not have to put hot warnings on things that are supposed to be hot. We should not have to put warnings on knives that say instrument is sharp. Let Darwin deal with it.
I agree with that.
And another thing, who really lathers, rinses, and repeats? That's just a trick to buy more product. In fact, most people use way too much shampoo or conditioner. A bottle should last months and months. Those hotel shampoos, enough in there for several people. Get educated and stop the madness, people. Let's pay our bills. We'll be back right after this.
That's a good one.
Shoe shine makes me a Molotov. I'm on the headline. Wanna be a gunslinger, don't be a rock singer. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which way you wanna go? Talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. Right in between it. Me, 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 me. Right in between it. Hit it. Now you know what to say. Talk about. Dig it in the fast lane. Listen to the countdown. They're playing our song again. I can't get Johnny Jack. I want the whole get back. Do not music, knick-knack, paddywhack. Talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. It's all around you. They want to surround you. It's all around you. Hit it. New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. Pop music. Pop music. Pop music. Now, listen. Talk about pop music. Talk about pop music. Talk about fever. Pop music. Pop music. You read me? Loud and clear. Get it down. Get it down. Oh no.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. No, and neither are the far on the other side. See, he agrees with that.
I'm going to get into that and continue that off-air conversation in a minute or two, I think.
Yeah, but he agrees with that because we've gone to such far extremes that nobody can get along anymore.
Right.
And it's permeated all the way down to people.
Just fine.
But it's permeated all the way down. Like yesterday, okay, with George Delisle. We had a very left activist on about the not motor voter, automatic voting registration. So either mass health or registry. Now, I question why it's to mass health, and they said not everybody that gets mass health would have a driver's license. I said to the lady, how can you exist in a state without having some sort of picture ID?
Easily happens all the time.
I think you can.
I find that very hard.
You
Why-
find it
why
hard,
would
but
you,
if
though?
you either lived in one of the more remote areas where you don't have easy access to a registry, or if you live in an inner city and even still you can't, or you
Yeah,
can
but
afford
registry, you
to
can do it online. There's no.
And if you don't have internet in your house,
Yeah, believe
how
it
are
or
you
not,
doing that?
people don't. Believe it
Trust
or not,
me, it's
people
very
don't.
actually simple to do, to live an entire life without actually having an ID of any shape or form. Happens all the time.
In fact, I know people that don't. have a
And
picture
a
ID.
lot of times those cost money. And if you're struggling to get by, you can't, decide between, can I put breakfast on the table this morning, or am I going to get a photo ID? I'm gonna eat.
Snap EBT cards have your photo on them now.
And that still takes time to go, and time and effort and probably money to get to the SNAP program, to sign up for the SNAP program.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't, again, have the resources to do that, then you're probably not using that, or you may not speak English or may not have the knowledge of those programs.
Snap
These
EBT
things-
is in
Snap-
a language.
Snap
A
has
language.
any language.
Yeah, but most of those publications and things are still in English. Most of the
all the
publicity I know-
publications that they send out have another pamphlet inside there in about 20 different languages.
Yeah.
telling you how to-
understand
how to
that.
take care of
I-
it.
Especially in
fully
this state.
understand that.
I mean, I understand our state's a lot different than most.
Mhm.
I get that, but in this state, I think that there's very few barriers. I mean, I was motivated to get my license whether I had a car or not. That's one of the things you do when you turn. But apparently,
That's one of the things you do.
But apparently,
And that was common in the place where you lived, in the area where you lived, in the friends that you had, in the family that you had. That was common and regular. That is not common and regular everywhere.
Especially in large cities, people don't
Right.
always drive in.
If you're living in Boston, you're taking the T, or you're taking cabs and taking all those things. It's actually cost prohibitive to
Well, how
have a
do you-
vehicle.
how do you cash a check or there's certain things you can't do without a picture ID.
I've only been asked one time for my picture on cashing a check. One
I didn't
time.
sign the back of my
and-
debit card, and I'm asked almost every time.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yes, really.
I have on the back of my credit cards and my debit card to say CID instead of writing my signature. I get asked rarely. Rarely is generous.
I leave it blank, and they ask me. I've asked about, I'd say 90% of the time.
I actually
I've
write
never- down
verify ID on the back of my credit cards. I was at a shop the other day. Let's say it rhymes with Walmart.
And you didn't call me?
That's a different story.
I probably would have rhymed it with
I decided to
Malfart.
play. I used my debit card, but I ran it through as a Visa or MasterCard, whatever. So I slide it through, and they asked to look at the card.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's-
And they looked at the back, dumbfounded. They go, huh? I go, yeah, read it. Verify ID. Okay, what does that mean?
Oh.
I go, it means you asked to look at my picture ID to verify I am who I am. And she said, oh, okay. And then handed the card back to me.
Well, no, I can go you one better. Honestly,
You go for it, girl.
I was in one of those large stores, which shall remain unnamed.
What does it rhyme with?
No. And similar to what you just said. And I handed them the card. This was before the chip. Handed them the card, and she said, ma'am, it was a new card. I hadn't signed the back. And she said, you didn't sign this. And she handed it to me to sign. Never asked me for any ID or any verification. Never said a word. And I signed it. Now, I could have been, who knows?
Anybody. I know.
One day I handed somebody a $20 bill, and I said, I just made these. And she went, oh, my God, really? No.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Could have a good printing operation in
So-
your basement.
I know. Oh, that reminds me. Printing. I have a question for our other guest later on. Remind me to
But
ask.
the other
him.
thing was we were talking about this automatic registration, and I said, can we please, if you're signing up that many voters, push. There's a bill to teach civics again, in the grade schools.
Should happen.
And I said, can you please, as a group, as a coalition, push that bill too? Because I don't want all these voters getting registered not knowing what the heck they're doing. That's more
That's the American way.
No, it's not. Because I was taught civics in high school. That's why I have a clue.
We did.
Now all these people are out there voting and don't know what they're doing. That could be why our good friend Mr. Yellowhair got in the office, because people don't know what they're doing. Now, if you were really evaluating things as a presidential election, you would have voted none of the above, and it would have been the first time in history that neither one of them got in.
You know, when we came back from break, I really didn't think we were going to go into a segment where we're trying to school this lefty here. So I want to get away from that, because that's just not what we talk about.
I also, in my role here, as I try to be apolitical and not talk about my personal politics, because that's not what I'm here for. So
right.
I refrain from coming back at you with logic that you're failing to use.
You don't think civics should be taught in schools?
I don't think civics isn't being taught in schools. And I think
the liberal agenda is being pushed in schools.
Then why is there a bill? Why is there a bill in the House to teach civics again as a class? Sponsored by both Democrats and Republicans.
And I would be curious to see how many curricula across the nation do not have a civics piece to their curriculum.
See, now
I'm talking about as a class, not as part of a little snippet of U.S. history.
I don't know. Again, I don't know.
I'll ask the superintendent on Thursday.
How about that North Korean summit?
Oh my!
It's a start. It's a start, just like anything else.
You know what?
You think they're going to solve the world's problems over dinner in a couple hours? No.
You know, that could turn into something really good. Imagine 2 years from now, we have trade with North Korea, and you can travel back and forth from North to South Korea without having to worry about the DMZ. I mean...
Oh, Dan, I can see you.
Do I think Kim will change his spots overnight? No.
Of
course not.
No. But if things change,
come up to the microphone if you're going to say something. Come on up.
The positive over the course of the next couple of years because of this.
It's going to take 20 years.
Even the never Trumpers out there wouldn't even accept it as being something good that he did.
That's what I got last night.
Yeah.
There's people who can't say that he will ever do anything right.
Mm-hmm. And when he does do something right,
I credit Obama for doing stuff right.
Yeah, me too.
I credit Clinton. I told Clinton to his face that I don't agree with 90% of his policies, but I respect him because he got elected president of the United States, and I respect the office and the fact that he went that far and got elected. He chuckled about it. The Secret Service are laughing their head off. I said it to his face. Me, humble citizen, talking to a president of the United States, sitting president of the United States. And he said, you know what? He said, the whole point is you surround yourself with people that are like-minded in your government, and you attempt to do what you think is right. Whether it's right or not, that's for history to judge, not for the people of the time and not for the people previous. That's what he told me. And I agree with him. I still agree with him to this day. What's wrong? Why am I wrong for saying that?
No, I don't think
I had people
wrong.
tell me I was drunk.
Well, I don't know. Have you been drinking that day?
No, I have not.
I can neither confirm nor deny that report.
I'm on a diet where I can't drink. So
Well, you can tweet about it though.
I've lost control of this broadcast.
You lost it when you started and said it is 8:00 something. Went down after that.
You know, I didn't even get a chance to introduce anyone.
No.
Pete pulled me right into this bottomless pit called politics, and I didn't even get a chance to talk about wacky packs.
You had
fact
your
that
chance
they
at a monologue.
The fact
It's
that
over.
the fact that we found that they still exist and you can
That's
buy
great
them.
news.
They wacky packages still exist.
I wonder if they went away because you're sort of limited.
I like the Pokemon Go Band-Aids.
I think they went away because
For legendary
back then they were
individuals.
really on PC.
Yeah.
Covers
They're
up cuts
pretty
from
bad.
not paying attention to reality.
It's
Oops.
needed. It's much needed.
Oops.
Yes.
Oh, this is going to be a very painful morning, ladies and gentlemen. 8:31. At least it'll be 8:31 in about 10 seconds.
Quick break.
No. Let's do a normal break, and that should be enough time for you to get the rest of all this politicking out of your pie
I'm
hole.
good now.
Are you
fine,
You
yeah.
sure? You promise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No kidding.
Yes.
Yeah. Honest engine. Oh, that was
Yes.
so un-PC. I should not have said that.
Can't say that.
I
I
am
know what
so
you mean.
sorry.
Oh.
That's flipped. All right. I'd have to push the dump button, but it's not worthy of the dump button.
No.
All right. So when we come back, we're gonna do normal talk.
Yeah.
No politics. No Trump. No Barry Soetoro.
Right.
Yep. No crooked Hillary.
No.
Yeah. None of that.
I'm good.
Well, maybe it'll come up once more when I talk. But unrelated, but it'll still probably come up somehow.
Take us away, Pete.
Well, I think
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Look at that! The Hendersons are getting a new fence.
Ah, who cares? They're swingers.
I want a new fence.
We just got one 2 years ago after your parents were killed.
I want a new fence. That's it. We're never having sex again. Need a home loan fast? At the American Bank of Los Santos, we'll help you get the debt you need to make life easier. We'll show you how to look richer and be poorer. Your home is your equity. What exactly are you saving it for? You need to impress people fast, not in 20 years. It's only a risk if you get into money troubles or the economy changes, which doesn't seem likely. We know living in the suburbs is a constant competition, where you're defined by your lawn and your siding. Call American Bank of Los Santos when you need to add a rec room addition with a jungle swing or a jacuzzi for 8. Now that the kids have moved out and have drug problems of their own, maybe it's time to install a luxury marble wet bar so you can get drunk in private. American Bank of Los Santos. Dreams take money. Why worry about tomorrow if you look inadequate today?
8:37 and a half, Pete.
Boy.
Why worry about tomorrow if you can look inadequate today? WSKB brought to you by the Bank of Los Santos.
It's the 80s theme today?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's all nostalgia today.
This is the 12th day of June, the year 2018, Anno Domini. This is the Den, Ken's Den, Ken Stomsky behind the microphone. See, now, this is what I should have been doing 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
But no, Pete took my show hostage, basically. You know, and you know, I don't
All
mind
right, I'll
doing,
shut off my mic. Goodbye.
I don't mind doing that now and then. Now and then he'll get wound up, and you know, I'll let him go at it. You know, I've been behind this mic for 4 years now. All right, it used to be at the beginning, I was worried about not getting enough mic time, but now I will feed to you from time to time.
As witnessed last Thursday when we were in a Mornings with Mayor Dan, it was me, you, Tina, and Dan.
Yes.
From 2014.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still have some
August
of
of
those,
2014.
I still have some of those recordings at home. But I am Ken. I'm behind the microphone this morning, as I am each and every Tuesday, 8 to 10, Ken's Den. In front of the console, Peter Coles. Kitten
You
of
don't
the
do the brand
Keys,
name anymore?
Sherman Meow.
Radio Millennium?
I don't-
It says it on the board.
I don't think people care if they know it's a Radio Millennium board.
Sounds cooler.
It does. It's impressive.
Yes, yes.
Radio Millennium Board.
Right.
You know, it's-
Side check.
I'm over here hiding.
Kathy Palmer hiding behind the turret
Hiding
today.
behind the turret.
Like she always. You know what? You're a very pretty young lady. You shouldn't be hiding behind that.
Young
we have a
lady
viewing
is
audience.
Compared to what?
Compared to the nothing that I'm getting right now, okay?
See, I have a method. My method is I tell people I'm 85. And that way they look at me and go, oh, my God, you look fabulous. It works. It works. It works really well. 85.
I could say something to that, but I'm not going to because of decorum and decency.
You would add 20 years?
Oh, honey, the check's in the mail. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Keep it moving. Squirrel. Shiny things.
I have gifts in the studio today.
We do. We do.
Hook 'em, Dano.
2 of them.
Here's Dan Paquette, Westfield Athenaeum's Executive Director. Book 'em, Dano.
I sure will.
89.5 WSKB.
always forget that little.
I always forget about that. And this time I did because I'm actually watching my transport
progress.
on here, and I knew there was about 4 seconds left of that bump. Good morning, Dan Paquette from the library.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here as always on that second Tuesday of the month.
Even what we put you through?
Are you really? Yeah.
I was very excited to be here until about 8:05.
And a quarter. 8:05 and a quarter.
Bob Plass isn't here today to coddle him for the first half hour, so he got right into it the second he sat down behind the microphone here.
I should have called in sick today. Kenny could have done the show.
No.
It was off for the first 2 hours.
You were off for the first 2 hours? You were here?
Yeah, Bob's got bronchitis.
Oh.
He's not. He's a sick puppy.
Oh, so that was a replay? That
Yes. That was from
I didn't hear the beginning.
That was also from 2014.
Okay. It was great music.
Yeah, he did too much talking when he was in Portugal, eh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But
Too much fun.
If Pete were to walk out sick, it wouldn't be the first time that has happened here, and I've had to.
I walked in one morning.
chair.
I was so sick. I walked in one morning at 6:10, put down my laptop, gave it to Jay, and said, "I'm out of here." I was that sick.
Yeah.
I still made it here, but I was like, "I'm not staying. It's just not gonna happen."
Yeah, and I show up, 2 hours later. Oh, so I'm running the board today, huh? Is that how this goes? And then there was another. I think there was one more time, Pete. I started about 8, and might have been 8:10, 8:15. You're like, Ken, I gotta get out of here. So he left after starting the show, and I'm like, oh, okay, good. So I'm running the board today, huh? Didn't bring any of my music.
It's always about him. Not worried about your health or your safety.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I've got to run the Millennium board now.
It takes a lot for me to walk out of this, to walk out away from work, even go homesick.
Dedicated. He's a dedicated gentleman.
No, just stupid.
He would much rather come here contagious and give us all something than to not show up.
That was it. That's what he was really doing. It's like, I'm going to touch all this board now, and I'm out of here. So,
wow, this is Bash Pete Day.
He wants to get all touchy-feely now. I don't know about that.
This is getting ugly here. I think I'm going home sick now.
Or maybe you'll just get sick from...
Get sick.
Mine is allergies, so...
It's that time of year.
Oh, yeah.
They're tough.
Anyways, our final guest.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter. I understand he has a new project that he's been working on for a while now, and we're going to get into it later on. Bruce Cortis is back in the studio. Good morning, Bruce.
Morning, Bruce.
Good morning. How you
Nice
doing?
to have you.
Sorry you had to deal with the past half hour so
Oh,
far.
that's okay. It's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word for it? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
it is.
He really liked the juggling bit.
So without getting into detail, would you mind doing a little tease regarding the latest project that you were working on?
I'd have to whip you.
That's a good tease. That's a very good tease.
Oh, I saw what he did there.
You see what he did there?
I did.
That's a great tease.
Because there was
Good one.
the Whip City is known for something.
No.
No. Really?
Did you know that?
It's downtown.
Yeah,
Bicycles.
This guy's from West Side. Do you know that we are called the Whip City?
I do, in fact, know that, yes.
Do you have anything regarding the Whip City at the library?
Quite a bit, but hopefully someday soon we'll have some more.
I was at the library last night for a meeting.
I saw Pete coming in. I didn't see you coming in.
Yeah.
But
I came in.
my meeting was canceled, so I was on my way home.
I came in through the front door.
I understand that concept.
Because I keep forgetting about the new back door.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end of the meeting, I saw people cutting through the main room of the library.
Giving you the tour.
And I'm like, oh, geez, I forget about that back door. And I walked through that back door. My car was right there. I didn't have to walk around.
Right,
Nice,
yeah, that's
huh?
what I did.
Direct exit.
That was really nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I don't understand, though.
Thank all the donators.
I don't understand,
Yeah, exactly.
though, the fence in between your building and the building next to it, because that'd be a nice little cut through in order to...
The United Bank, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's their drive-through. So I think they want to prevent people from just like popping into their driveway for their drive-through.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My best
I'll buy that.
explanation.
All right.
Best I got.
Mm-hmm. All right. But anyways, that new back door is totally awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of the focal points of of the project of making it easier to get in and out. So.
It still had the
And it
new.
was.
It still had the new building smell
That
when I
new
walked
building
through it.
smell.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
That's
Have you experienced that
Yes.
over there?
I always come in and out of the back entrance, and at one time there was a comment made that people don't usually use it, but I used it all the time.
We got about a third of our traffic through each of the doors. Now, once hopefully we can rework the parking lots. That's a longer term plan with United, Berkshire, and the city with their new lot and our lot. Hopefully, make it easier to manage. One big
More
lot kind of
accessible,
thing,
yeah.
more accessible.
It'd be great to have more than one way in and out of that.
Right, exactly. And
It is.
so hopefully in the long term, then I think we get probably about half our traffic coming in that back way. And now it's more clear that that is an entrance.
It is. I think it was kind of hidden before, and you had to walk through the children's library,
Yeah.
which I didn't mind, but then you had to go up the steps once you got in there. When I was little, remember the Boys and Girls Library? That was
Back about 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. It was like magic seeing the adult library up there. It was like such a magic world.
Yeah.
And we always wanted to go up in there, but you just didn't. You just didn't.
Well,
No, I remember those days.
Didn't.
That happened for me too.
Did it?
Yes.
It was a magic.
Yes, you peeked through the door, and that was about it.
yeah, I like that picture by Danny Nason.
That's a beautiful
great
picture,
one.
It
too.
was like two different atmospheres. The children's
Yes.
library had a certain atmosphere, and then when you went upstairs, it was completely different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to recreate that in the children's room. We want bedlam upstairs. We want chaos. So we're still trying to have a lot of that. No, I mean, we're trying to make the children's room magical too, and so we'll hopefully
It
have
is.
some nice new features in there as well.
Are you going
Of
to
course,
have
there's-
any safe spaces with crayons and stuff?
My office.
There are
That's a good one, Dan.
That's just-
All right, I'll give that one to you.
Of course, don't forget the sign that you want to put up. Put up that sign that says, any child left unattended for long periods of time will be sent home with a kitten.
And an espresso. So
Kittens.
they did have that in the staff area for the children's room for a long time, a sign that said that. So
Hey, Pete, it's 8:47. I owe you a quarter of. Why don't we get to it? We'll be back right after this.
Oh, what a night. Late December back in 63. What a very special time for me. As I remember, what a night. Oh, what a night. You know, I didn't even know her name, but I was never gonna be the same. What a lady, what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when she walked in the room. Hey, my
WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
8:52 in the morning.
Man, they're flying by.
I almost destroyed an hour here.
Yeah.
And I haven't accomplished anything. You did. You went off on your own little tangent earlier, which I let you.
I like sparring with Dan. It's fun.
I let you do that.
I think he enjoys it too.
It is. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like arguments.
But I didn't bring Bruce Cortis in here to be part of all this
Sorry,
bunk
Bruce.
and nonsense.
I apologize.
That's quite all right.
Okay, see,
Bruce is above that.
Peter apologized.
That's fine. That's fine. Everybody has their opinions.
All right. So, but 2 years ago, it was digitizing photos of Westfield's past. Now, you're cracking the whip over something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kathy.
Bad puns? Is that what
Yeah, I think, well, Kathy knows when we were in school just a few years ago.
20.
The name Whip City meant a lot more than it does now. And it was kind of drummed into our daily lives that, we were the Whip City. And I've kind of always had a bit of an interest in it. And after reading a few things, I realized there's just a whole lot that has never been written about. Typically, all your histories, they talk about the top 5-6 companies, and a lot of it's just PR stuff. And there's a whole backstory to the whole industry and how it developed, starting back around 1820, or actually a little bit earlier than that. But I just thought there was just a whole lot that could be compiled into one place, and as a starting point. It's not going to be an all-inclusive history of the whip industry, but hopefully it's going to give a good foundation to what went on. And if anybody wanted to research a particular company, particular person, you get a better idea of where to look, what time frame they're working on, who they worked for, kind of a thing. So yeah, I've been researching the whip industry quite hard for a couple of years now.
Speaking of whips, I see Pete on his laptop over here. I'm wondering if we're on the same wavelength, even though I specified 76. Did you happen to look up "Let It Whip" by the Daz Band?
Yeah, or or Little Devo.
See if you have the Daz Band on that hard drive.
I have it.
Oh, okay. we might have to step aside from your 1976 that I specified. I'll honor Bruce. So what got you interested in the whip manufacturing?
Well, partly just because knowing the history, partly because I actually worked for U.S. Line Company, which was the end of U.S. Whip. I worked for U.S. Line when I was in high school and early college, so I knew a certain amount of the history, and I looked at a couple different things to research in town that could have been interesting to research. The bicycle industry is obviously one of them. The organ industry, a lot of people don't even realize how deep we are in organs.
Pipe organs used to be manufactured.
That's back to the 1800s.
I thought it was like the liver trade.
I mean,
no, that's back to the 1800s, right?
Yeah, William Johnson, Oregon.
No, Dan. No.
Hey, I thought it was pun day.
No.
Well, William Johnson, Oregon, from 1844 to 1898, I think it was, at the end, they made something like 896 organs that are all over the United States, major churches, and all over the United States, all the churches in Westfield, the Methodist, the Baptist, First and Second Congo, everybody had a Johnson organ, and then several of them had a couple. They would buy one and then they'd upgrade later. But they were huge, and actually that's another side project I'm working on. I'm helping Bob Brown is doing a presentation July 18th. There's an organ recital at First Church, and he's doing a presentation on Johnson organ. So I took some of Bob's slides and put them in a PowerPoint for him, and so that's going to be on the 18th of July. But so there's several areas, and I just kind of settled on the whip industry, and the more I delved into it, the more I realized just how little is understood in terms of the number of inventions that came out of Westfield. More than half the patents in the United States for the core process of buggy whips came out of Westfield. Across the entire United States, more than 50% of them. And then the vast number, I was just amazed by the number of people over the 50 years in the second half of the 1800s. There was come over 200 names of people who manufactured whips in Westfield.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there just wasn't 3, 4, 5 companies that made whips here.
At any given point in time, there was typically 35 or 40 companies active.
Wow.
But it spanned over 50 years. A lot of these companies only lasted a year or 2, 3, 4. Sometimes a guy would make just whip stocks, the handles, and another guy made just lashes. And they'd form a partnership for a couple of years because the two halves of the whip came together. It was basically a big dysfunctional family.
Just for the sake of our audience, Bruce, could you tell us what kind of whips we made?
Yeah, primarily buggy whips. Buggy whips, riding crops later on. I mean, all the companies would make just about any whip, but we're talking primarily good quality buggy whips, braided woven whips. This is primarily what it was, and as later on, like I say, Westfield Whip Manufacturing got into riding crops and other kind of whips, stockyard whips. But in its heyday, it was all about the buggy whip for the farmers and whips that be used on the farms. In fact, the whole thing started with farmers making whips part-time. You know, if they had downtime during the wintertime. Your early guys back 1800, 1810, 1820, usually their occupation was listed as a farmer. They weren't whip makers. They were farmers who happened to make whips also.
Right.
So it's been real interesting uncovering the patents. Without giving it away, I came across one piece of research where we've all got when we're doing these research things, we've all got this list, this little shoebox of trivial stuff you come across. You say, well, someday I'm going to get to that piece, and you put it aside. Well, I went back to one of those pieces about 3-4 weeks ago, and I came across a name of a person I'd never run into before. Then I come across another newspaper article from 1855 saying that his farm and his barn and his whip shop had burned down. Mm-hmm. And I knew basically where in town it was. And I did some research on the 1857 atlas, and sure enough, I find the name in the right straight road and everything. And then I realized I recognize that spot. So I called up the present owner of the house, who I happen to know, and I said, does this name mean anything to you? He goes, oh yeah, he owned the house back in the 1800s. I said, well, how far back does your house go? He said, about 1820, except the back alley shed that burned in 1855. Mm-hmm. Okay? And there's going to be, when I do my presentation in December on the whole thing, this is going to be one of my little kind of discoveries, so I don't want to give away who it is or anything, but it's somebody who's, if I were to mention his name, a lot of people in town would know him.
I know you're going to do that when we go to break, just so that...
No, I can't tell you. I'd have to whip you.
No, he'll have to kill you.
But those are the interesting things. It's the side stories that you can link together people, link together names. My own third great-grandfather was the holder of the oldest patent from the Westfield area, going back to 1832. We never knew. We knew he was a mechanic who worked on grist mills and sawtooth blades, and he did a lot of work on a lot of mills. And I come across the fact that the oldest patent that I found from Westfield belongs to my third great grandfather. So it's just those are
pretty cool.
Those are the side stories that are really kind of interesting, you know.
9 o'clock, actually 9 o'clock and a half.
That's an awkward one.
Yeah, it took me a minute to figure out how exactly to say that. So we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to find out what Bruce is doing about all these whips, and then maybe I'll even talk to Dan.
Yeah.
No?
Skip it.
Skip it?
Yeah.
Skip it or whip it. This is going to be a long morning. I'm sorry, folks. 9:01. Let's get out of here.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're listening to Ken's Den with Ken Stomsky.
And I am Ken Stomsky, already into the second half of this broadcast. I don't remember a damn thing from the first half, except that we were talking whips. We're talking whips with Bruce Cortis. Now, what exactly are you doing with all this research of whips that you've been doing?
Okay, so what I'm doing, and this is one of the struggles actually, is there's so many varied topics about the whips. Is I am organizing into a book, which is hopefully going to be published by around end of November.
Will it be at the Athenaeum?
Yes, it will be. In fact, I'm actually slated to do a presentation on the Athenaeum on the 12th of December as part of the 350 speaker series. I've already set that up with Joyce Berggren.
Okay.
And
mark your calendars.
You mark your calendars. And so we'll be doing a presentation there. What's the capacity of the Lang, Dan?
I think it's 120 for a speaker.
I'm kind of wondering if we're actually going to have room if I do it. But we're slated to do it in the Lang.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm going to put a little bit of a plug in here for the Athenaeum as we talk about this.
I approve this message.
That's right. So I've been down the Athenaeum a fair amount. There's a couple things that people just don't really appreciate or utilize as much as they could when they're doing this kind of research. One of which is the city directories. Mm-hmm. And they go all the way back to 1872. And the city directories are an underutilized resource. When you're doing this kind of research, they're just chock full of information about who lived where, what they did. There's advertisements in there that are really descriptive. So I've used the city directories. They're online through Ancestry, but there are a fair amount of holes into it through online. And with the exception of just a very few years, the Athenaeum pretty much has a full set of directories. There's a couple years that are missing, but not much. But that's a tremendous resource. And up in the archives, actually I'm going to be going down there tomorrow to scan some pictures, and which obviously will get full credit in the book and everything. The archives are just chock full of information too. Be it whips, be it floods, be it whatever. There's just a tremendous amount of information up there that's sorted away that Kate can help guide people with and everything. So, I've been using the Athenaeum quite a bit for the research and doing.
I put the two of you in on the same morning for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah. so the plan is the plan. I talked to the printer the other day, and the plan is to have the book done probably around mid-November, which means I have roughly until about the 1st of October to button it up. So there's just a wide variety of things. There's a general history of what companies existed when, who were the first whip makers, a couple surprises in there, names I'd never heard of before that were early whip makers. Just an entire progression. Like I say, there were a couple hundred different names, so I'm trying to pare it down. There's obviously people that were only into it for a year or two and part-time and that are worthy of mention in a list, but they're not going to get a lot of description.
Right.
So trying to sort it down to things like there's some topics about labor that are kind of interesting. Fires is always an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. And then the general history and the profiles of some of the people, some of the backgrounds of some of the people, people that maybe some of them served in the Civil War, some of them, one person, which a lot of people may not know, Edwin Lay actually had 4 sons in the Civil War. He was a whip maker, 2 of which died in the Civil War. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to sprinkle some background, interesting facts in there. And so that's, yep.
A light bulb just went on over my head.
I'm blinded.
Uh-oh.
It wasn't that bright.
Yes, Ken.
We're not saying anything.
I'm wondering how many of these people may be turned over on Mechanic Street.
Okay, so that's interesting, too, is when you come right down to it, if I were to ask you, Ken, the whip industry, how big of a geographical area in terms of square miles do you think that was?
Are we talking just city or beyond the city?
By around 1870, with the exception of a very few small shops, it was all in the city. All the factories were in the city.
Okay. Many downtown.
Many downtown.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
So let me say 4 square miles.
What would you do if I told you it was 1/4 square mile?
Wow.
I believe you.
Okay, if you take by the 1880s, Mechanic Street, Main Street, Elm Street, Meadow Street, and maybe one block west of Elm Street, because there were some whip shops that were in the back of buildings that were in the front of Elm, okay? So that's basically where your factories were. And if you're really generous, you call that a half mile by half mile, which comes to 1/4 square mile, and that's being overly generous, okay? But it was all the factories. By 1880s, I would say you had one factory out in what they called Ruinsville. Have you ever heard that?
I haven't heard that one before.
When you go out Granville Road, you know where Loomis Street splits off?
Yeah.
Okay, as you're going out Granville Road, before you get to Loomis Street, there's a big meadow on the right-hand side, and there's a couple big old houses tucked down by Little River. That was Ruinsville.
Well, there's a reason why Kathy's going to know where that was.
It was called Ruinsville because supposedly every business that ever was in that factory was ruined.
Okay.
I'm serious. That's what the legend is, and so the Osden whip, Osdens were out there. You had quite a few small whip makers, several small whip makers out in Mundale, primarily lashes and stuff like that. They weren't factories. So when you're doing your lashes, you're doing a lot of braiding by hand. So it wasn't machinery driven. And what drove everything downtown was by the 1860s, 1850s, 60s, everything became more machine driven for your braiding and your outer coverings, and you needed machinery to be a real factory, and so it all came downtown. So and then aside from that, you had Independent Whip, which was on the north side in the old Colony building. That was originally built for Independent Whip. Other than that, it was all right down that one little area.
How many people would be employed at the typical factory?
A lot of the small ones were like 3, 5, 10 people maybe. Very few were over 50. The exception being the 800-pound gorilla was American Whip.
Is that was that located basically across from where Stop and Shop is now?
American?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, what's General Shepherd Apartments is the remains of one of the American Whip buildings.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, you had what we knew of as right next to Second Congregational Church, which is I'm sure you don't remember. You're too young.
I do.
I follow your Facebook page, which we'll mention later on.
But so you basically where Subway is now. Okay, that was originally one of the buildings for American Whip, and actually originally, going back to the first building, American Whip's building did not come all the way out to Main Street. It was set back probably 75 feet. The Westfield Athenaeum, the original Westfield. The original Westfield Athenaeum was right on the front of Main Street, and American Whip was actually set back a bit until it burned down to the ground in 1869. Then they rebuilt and came all the way out to the street.
Librarians getting schooled about the library.
I knew that.
Oh, you did?
We knew that.
I'm sure you knew that. But,
and also, if they want to go to that Lost New England site, you can see some great pictures of that factory. So, Lost New England people, Google it, and you can find pictures.
Yep. There's a lot of I think the Lost New England site's great. My only bone of contention with some of these people, and I've had a few interesting conversations on my historic Westfield group, is it drives me nuts when people don't give credit where they got something from. It's like everything I put,
I remember that.
Anything I put, I actually booted one person out of the historic Westfield group because he kept saying, I don't know where this came from. Well, I know where it came from. Everybody knows where it came from. Oh, yes,
we did.
And I don't know. It's on my site. He's got gentlemen. In fact, I was going to meet with him, and I decided not to because I just, in principle, he's obviously just out cherry picking screen copies off the internet and whatever. And I'm really big on documenting where it came from, giving credit. If somebody gave you something, let people know. Let people know where it is.
It makes it verifiable.
That's right.
Your Facebook group is actually very, very unique. I remember when it first started up. I'm the admin of You're from Westfield, Mass. If you remember.
Yep.
And Bruce messages me, says, I'm going to start up a Westfield history thing on Facebook. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Come on, we don't need two. And then
it's different.
And then he spelled out, it's basically history 55 and prior.
Right, really.
And it's not just memories. This is actually historical documents
Yeah.
and research and information that you have on there.
And the two groups aren't in conflict with each other. They serve a different purpose. The one I'm trying to do is just people to be able to document facts and history, whereas yours is much more conversational.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm a member of both pages, you know.
Yeah, we go back and forth.
And people at first said, "Oh, we don't need," but they have different purposes, you know. And people still post historical stuff, and some of my stuff gets shared into your group too.
Yeah, I've stolen some of your stuff.
Sure.
I'll admit it.
Yeah. But you know,
I think I used to ask permission first, and now I just don't bother.
But on Facebook, if I post something and you go in there and you share it, it comes up in Ken's group, but it says shared from Historic Westfield.
Right.
So you got documentation where it came from. There's no problem with that.
So how do they find this group on Facebook?
My group is just Historic Westfield, Massachusetts, and obviously yours is you're from Westfield, if you remember, right? And so either one. In fact, I think the majority of the people that are members of mine are members of yours.
Right.
You have a lot more because there's a lot of people that are interested in the conversational stuff. Who, quite frankly, aren't that interested in the old history, and that's fine. You know, but
you know, it's funny. When I was in school, I dreaded history. It was a subject I hated the most.
Well, I dreaded school in general.
Well, you know, I went to trade, so I didn't hate school.
Yeah.
And now, and it's happened maybe over the past 10 years, I've gotten into local history, and that is a whole nother world.
Sure.
And I've been drawn into it, and I've absorbed so much and learned so much that people actually message me now and then, hey, do you know the source of this, or do you remember what that was in that location or whatever? Local history is something incredible to get involved with.
I feel like local history is more tangible than regular, like general history, because you actually live in those areas. You can make references to places that are still there or where it is, so it becomes much more real. Yep. When you're doing that kind of research or
and I
reading.
think people like to make that connection too. They like to know what was where their house is.
Yeah.
What was there before their house was built? What was downtown like?
Sure.
That's why genealogy is so popular too, because it's a connection to you personally. And
with the research department at the Westfield Athenaeum, you can find a lot of this stuff out.
We can.
That is in fact true. Our archives have all kinds of history.
So we're going to talk about the Athenaeum when we get back, because Pete, I think I owe you a quarter after. It's 9:18 and a half. We'll be back right after this.
If you feel like leaving, you know you can go. But why don't you stay until tomorrow? If you wanna be free, you know, all you got to do is say so. And when you feel cold, I warm you. And when you feel you can't go on, I'll come and hold you. It's you and me forever. Sarah, smile. Oh, won't you smile a while for me, Sarah?
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Wednesday mornings from 6 till 8, it's Tina Gorman with Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're listening to Ken's Den with Ken Stonsky.
I love it when other people say my name. Hey, Kathy, say my name. For a second, I thought she was going to go, oh, Kenny.
Kenny.
That's a little eerie.
So we've been chatting with Bruce Cortis about whips here in this city. You know, all this talk about whips, I think that's what caused me to go in that little, never mind.
Let's move it along, please. Squirrel.
Dan Paquette, shiny stuff.
Shiny squirrel cupcake.
Dan Paquette from the Athenaeum is here.
Yeah, here I am.
Yeah.
Still.
I still, I still want to get information out about the library.
Okay.
We know that you've been renovating, and we know you're making progress.
We are.
So we don't need to drill that into the ground. We want to let people know what is going on.
What's coming on
down at the library.
Well, a lot of big things happening. The biggest one, obviously, is coming up to our summer reading club. School's out, so we always have our summer reading program for kids to keep reading and doing something fun with reading, as opposed to having to, put in book reports or really suck the fun out of books and enjoy, just getting back to enjoying them, but keeping them doing something so that they don't have what's called the summer slide, where kids, start to regress over the summer because they're not doing anything for a couple months.
I never regressed over the summer.
No. I just kept it going year round. Is that
I wasn't going to touch that.
I had attention deficit disorder year round.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
So our summer reading kickoff is June 23rd. That's going to be on the green. We did it last year. We had a great turnout, and it was a lot of fun, so we're doing it again. That's June 23rd at 10 a.m. it starts, and we're having performances from the Westfield High School and Westfield Tech Academy bands with Patrick Kennedy. And then we're also having Tinknell and Bates. So Tinknell and Bates is at 10, and then the high school band's at 11:30. So there'll be a lot of fun there, because this year's
Tickle and Bates?
Tinknell.
Tinknell.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, my enunciation on that name was apparently not sufficient. Then there's also going to be face painting, Read to Rover, games, funds, crafts. Last year, Home Depot was there, and they were having a craft, and they're supposed to be back again this year with another craft for kids to do during the day. We're going to have rocks for kids to paint, because this year's theme is Libraries Rock.
Going around town looking for rocks is a thing now, too.
Yeah, so we're going to paint them, have kids make their own messages if they want. They can take them home with them. They can hide them around, whatever they like. It's a nice paperweight as well, if that's your thing.
Is that Reading to Rover thing exactly what I think it is?
If you think it's kids reading to dogs, then it's exactly what you think it is.
Wait. I thought the highlight of the summer was my theater program.
Well, that's not at the kickoff, though. This is just the kickoff day.
I'm shocked.
And I will be getting into that.
I'm shocked.
I want more information on this Reading to Rover.
Yeah, Reading to Rover is a cool program. We actually do it year round. Once a month we have trained therapy dogs that come in, and kids can read to a dog, and it's a non-judgmental, safe way of kids who are nervous or shy about reading. I was one of those kids. I hated reading out loud. I would always get lost or stumble over things, and it was really embarrassing. And so this is a way the dog's not going to care if you stumble or have a struggle reading, and you're not doing it in front of your peers. And so it's really a comfortable space where they can build up that confidence.
I get
read.
it.
Yeah.
You've talked about this before.
Yeah, and
okay.
And who doesn't want to just read to a dog? I mean, that sounds awesome, right?
What? Can you get the dog to read to you?
No, but some of them, not all of them. Sometimes the dogs can be trained to, like, they'll put their paw on the page or something to, like, sort of like feel like they're interacting with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's
like they're
really
interested, huh?
Yeah. And they're trained therapy dogs. They're very good at being there, putting their head on your lap or something if you're sitting next to them. So it's a really nice, fun, cute thing to do.
This laptop is my therapy.
We'll
That
not check out the
explains
browser
it.
history. Other things happening this month.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Tomorrow is Donuts with Dads. So, there'll be a story time. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Father's Day is coming up, so it's a way for kids to come in with their dads and have some donuts and a nice little fun time. The Knitwits Junior program continues. That's kids learning to knit and having a fun time with that.
We have nitwits who match wits here on Tuesday mornings now and then.
Yes, same group, I think, actually. Over the summer, we're going to be showing movies every Monday, for parents to come in and dump their kids. No.
By the way, June 23rd, it's also Buskers Day.
Yeah, they did that last year.
They're doing it again
in conjunction. So there's more stuff to do around downtown. So
yeah,
that's right. I went around looking for you that day, and you had disappeared.
I was there to help set up, but I forget. I think was it a wedding? I had something else that day that I ended up not being able to stick around. So this year I should be there.
Yeah,
for
I think you had a wedding. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
This year, nothing else.
Maybe I'll finally catch up to you and get that tour.
Private tour of the Athenaeum. It'll be great.
Been talking about that for 2 years now.
It can finally happen, and there's a lot to see with the renovations. So.
And I can go down and check out the buskers.
That's right.
Shiny things again.
I was going to play Peter Griffin, but I decided not to.
Who the? Never mind.
Exactly. Even Brian knew it.
I would recommend checking out our website and our event calendar, because there are really a ton of programs happening over the summer. Like, we're having a marionette show at the end of June, and really every week there's multiple programs happening for the summer reading program. So there's a lot to do, and it's not just reading, it's a lot of fun interactive programs. One of the other things that's happening, let's see if I can find the thing. There it is. There's a teen writing workshop, and there's still a little bit of space on that. So it's four classes. They're for students ages 12 to 18, and each one's 2 to 3 p.m. So there's a writing on microfiction, monologues, creative nonfiction, and performance poetry. So
wait a minute now. There's a new one in there for me.
Yeah,
microfiction.
I think it's all fiction through Twitter. No, I don't. sort of short stories, but even more condensed.
Okay.
I this off topic a little bit, but I did see something neat. If you ever want to see something funny, 2-sentence horror stories. It's interesting how in 2 sentences you can actually get a sense of creepiness and a little jump.
I can do it in 2 words, but anyways,
I can do it.
We
with
can all guess the two.
No.
I can bring the creep on with just a look.
No.
Yeah, but then there's a restraining order. It's too much work.
Yeah, damn those 209As.
It involves a lot of jump buttons.
Not sure how we ended up here, but here we are.
Keep going.
That's just because we're all funny. We can throw each other around.
So I have a question for Dan. Actually, one question, one comment. Mm-hmm. We talked about the research and everything at the Athenaeum and the renovations and whatnot.
Yeah.
One thing that people don't realize is the reference desk people, they're not just librarians. These people really know a lot about history, and a lot of people think you have to go up to the archives to get some good assistance on research and everything. Yeah. The women on the reference desk are really knowledgeable too, and that's probably underutilized. And some people probably don't appreciate that. The question is there's another room in the Athenaeum a lot of people aren't even aware of, and that's the Westfield room.
Yeah.
So Are you expanding the Westfield room with the renovations? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so through the renovations, it's expanding, a little bit. It's actually probably almost doubling in size, but it was a tiny room before. So it's still going to be a small room, but we're actually going to have a space in there for a desk. So someone actually doing research can be right in the room and looking at the materials, as opposed to we always had to pull them out. You couldn't see. So it's not easy to do sort of browsing will be a little bit difficult still, just because a lot of them are old, been rebound, so it's not easy to see what they are. But you can be in there working on multiple things easily and doing a long-term project, and the microfilm reader will be in there. So it'll be a lot easier to do that in-depth research if you get to that stage, because like you were saying, a lot of the stuff in that Westfield room is the more commonly used, more ready reference for the local history, and then it's only if you get into a really heavy in-depth project like you're working on the whips that you really get into the archives, because there's a lot of questions about what's the history of my house, or did my parents they went to Westfield High School, do you have any pictures? So a lot of those kinds of questions can be answered quickly by the reference department, because we get them so much, and they do have a great knowledge of what's in the Westfield history.
So is it microfilm now instead of microfiche?
It's sort of interchangeable.
I think they're both the same thing.
They're not actually, but you can use them interchangeably.
Am I showing my age here?
Yeah, because there's also like plates, microfilm plate kind of thing. So there's a few different things that go into that, but you can use them sort of interchangeably.
It's almost 9:33. I blew past my 9:30. Why don't we take care of that, Pete? We'll be back right after this.
morning of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Wednesday mornings start off right from 6 to 8 a.m. with Tina Gorman and Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
You're good, but let's be honest, you're not perfect. And that's not American. We strive to be number one in everything. Sports, politics, economics, homelessness, degeneracy. Los Santos is the home of beauty and glamour for the whole world. Live up to society's expectations. Play your part. Your body is a work of art. Don't leave it half finished. It's time for your creative plastic surgery. We'll make your face as tight as a drum. We'll suck fat out of your body with an industrial pump. Increase your confidence with fake breasts to ensure people know what you're all about. For the more adventurous, why not try an extra nose or 3 breasts? You know how much men like breasts. Can you imagine how wild they'll go for udders?
My wife was complaining that she did all the work. Carried the baby for 9 months, had painful labor. It's not fair to her my nipples are useless. That's why I had creative plastic surgery. I got a set of udders installed. Now my son can suck my udders while I'm watching the game. The fellas at the bar love them too.
Men never stared lasciviously at my ass. Then I had a tail attached. Now people can't stop looking.
Beauty is not skin deep. It's less than that. Creative plastic surgery. Achieve your own utopia.
WSKB brought to you by Creative Plastic Surgery.
All right, moving along.
Sure is.
Oh my God.
Kathy almost lost it during that one.
Did I see?
Because I really know what udders look like.
Did I see the PC police just walk down the hall?
They did.
Probably did, yeah.
They did.
My God.
We're all being replaced.
You know what? Just because she didn't quite go over the edge.
Yes.
Dirty Turkish
My favorite. My favorite.
Let's get back to the library. There's some more events going on.
Yeah, just a few more I'll mention. For the teens, they've got obviously their summer reading program coming up, and there is also one for adults. So adults, you're included as well. We have some fun things to do over the summer. But the teens are having a block party next Tuesday, and that's not what you might think. It's actually blocks. The blocks are Legos, but there will be snacks.
I love Legos.
Yeah.
Do you have to be a teen to go?
This one, yes, but
Darn it.
We also have a kids block party, Lego club. But again, you don't qualify for that one. We don't have to organize an adult Lego club. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
They're also doing summertime selfies, so there's going to be a little selfie booth set up where you have little props and fun things to take crazy pictures of yourself on Thursday the 21st. And then their summer reading kicks off, and they have a lot of great activities going on throughout the summer. And again, some movies. The first one is on June 29th, and they're showing Pitch Perfect 3. So that
are you able to say that? You just did.
I just did. Yeah. I guess technically with our license, no. So can
So
we pretend I didn't say what
we'll
movie title it was
exactly?
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah. There's a movie, lots of singing. Has Anna Kendrick. Figure it out. You can call a librarian if you need help with that research. We're happy to help.
Or look it up on the website, right?
Right. Check out westath.org, westath.org. The adults, our book club selection for the month is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it, I think. So they'll be reading that on June 21st. You hopefully have read it before June 21st and come and discuss it on the 21st at 1 o'clock. And then one more program that is a kids program I wanted to discuss because I think it has relevance to this room. On Fridays over the summer, it's a multi-week program. There's a theater play program that someone is helping to facilitate. I don't know if anyone knows that person, but it's Kathy Palmer.
I don't know her.
Yeah. I should introduce the two of you.
Actually, I think this is the third year that we've been running this program, and it's open to a wide variety of ages. And we try to do something different every year. Last year we wrote a play together, the kids wrote it, and then we did a reading in the end. The year before that we did a couple plays. Then this year I think we're going to try some readers' theater.
Nice.
To keep them going and talk about some elements of theater and just let them have a grand time with some pantomiming. We do a presentation at the end, and the public is invited, so it's a fun time.
Yeah, every year I always get great
way.
reports from the parents and the kids.
Is this why I'm losing you for a month?
No, that's my Park and Rec program. That's during the day. That's a 2-week
all right, get it out.
Session.
All right.
Yeah, it's a 2-week session. It starts the first week in July, and of course we have the 4th off. But other than that, we run every morning from 9 to 12, Southampton Road, and it's ages. I think it says 4th grade and up. I'm not really sure what the booklet says, but the interesting thing is each session is different. Sometimes lately I've been getting a lot of older kids in the program, getting like middle school and high school. So
cool.
Yeah, but it keeps their reading skills going. And as Dan will tell you, that kids that are better readers are better students all around.
Better human beings.
And absolutely, I
read a lot when I was a kid.
Well, I guess not everybody works for it.
It's your historians of the future. It's your people that are going to run your Millennium Board. So we try to encourage.
That's not a Millennium Board. It's a Radio Millennium Board.
Radio Millennium Board. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so that's really a quick rundown of the programs happening this month and a little bit on the summer reading programs.
Yeah, and summer is coming up. After school gets done for the summer, the Boys and Girls Club, they're bringing back the lunch program,
which is awesome.
Excellent.
They've had the past couple of years. So
that's a huge addition over the
Park
summer.
Park and Rec does that too.
Yeah, basically,
I think it's a joint venture.
Yeah,
it's not just the boys and girls. Yeah,
excellent.
A couple of times over the summer in the past, I didn't check to see if we are this year. We've been like a day stop, so if they'll do like a field trip and they'll come eat at the library instead. So
cool.
So it's age 2 through 18. All right. If you're between those ages, you are invited to enjoy a free lunch. And they have several different locations, just as they did last year. This all starts up June 25th. And the hours vary at each location. You could go to the Boys and Girls Club website at bgcwestfield.org. That's bgcwestfield.org. Some of the locations
that thousands
they do this at.
And thousands of meals last year.
Yeah,
over the summer.
It's really amazing.
And it's really all over the town. Church of the Atonement and the Boys and Girls Club, they only have it on a few certain days. But you're looking at Chapman Playground, okay, all right, CPA, Colonial Pine Acres, Powder Mill, Sadie Knox, the Edgewood Apartments, the Hubbard Street Spray Park, and South Middle School are all locations that this is going to be going on.
And also huge kudos to the school department because they opened the South Middle Kitchen all summer to really augment what the Boys and Girls Club can do because they can't do it by themselves.
So this is an excellent program. Again, it starts up June 25th. We're lucky to have it. A lot of communities don't have this. Yeah. So it's another great reason to enjoy being in Westfield. It's 9:46. We're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll wrap things up.
The
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Look at that, Pete. 9:50 and a half. Wow. Wow, this morning just went screaming by. Now, Kathy, actually, she got out from behind the turret a little bit, and when I announced the time, I actually saw she looked up at the clock to make sure I hit it. Because when you're hidden, you can't see that clock.
No, but I was peering around the side at it.
Which also means if you can't see the clock and you start talking and going on, you have no idea where you are in relation to a break or anything like that.
I watch for your breaks now. You taught me that.
Mm-hmm.
I watch those breaks.
Do you have something else going on you want to talk about?
I do. It only take 2 seconds at the.
You can take 2 minutes, darling.
2 minutes. All right. It's we have at the Westfield Theater Group, which is a department of the Westfield Women's Club, 28 Court Street here in Westfield. We have auditions again for the second night, Dan, for our holiday musical, which is called Little Holiday Spirit, and it's a story that's pretty apropos in today's world. It involves bullying, it involves homeless situation, and it also involves post-traumatic stress.
Does Dan get to bully somebody?
No, we're going to bully Dan.
Okay.
But anyway,
that's just like today's radio show.
It does have a lot of current issues. We need maybe 5 children ages 9 to 12. We need 8 teenage girls in the more or less high school age. We need 4 teenage boys. But we need, 8 adult men and 11 adult women, and some of those adults have solos they need to sing. So it's a large cast. Come on down tonight, 6:30, Westfield Theater Group. For more information, go to westfieldtheatergroup.com.
Awesome.
I'm done. And directed and written by me. And music is written by Marion Dunk, my twin sister. Just because she's 6 feet tall, it doesn't matter. We still look identical. Okay, I'm done.
Everything? You got everything out now?
Everything is done. And any one of you, if you'd like to be on stage, we will gladly put you up. We've been trying to get Dan up there for years.
I didn't hear any auditions for librarians, so I'm out. All right.
Don't ever say that.
No, she's going to specifically write librarians into her place.
I was going to turn around saying you don't have any openings for a radio personality, but knowing Kathy, she will write one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be quiet. I will not poke that bear or bearess.
Oh,
what's a female bear called?
Hopefully clothed.
They have.
Are there different words for male and female bear?
No.
It'd be a sow.
Yeah.
Probably me.
Yeah, that's the only word I've ever heard. But what about the male? I don't have any idea.
I believe I call them.
Yes, good point.
Yeah, been a lot of.
It's all nice and pretty till they come chasing after you.
Right. And we've had bear literally on the stairs of the house across the street from us lately. So
yeah. I got one that that wrecked my barrel up on the north side.
Keep those trash barrels under control. Put the bird feeders out of reach.
even still, that attracts them. Bird feeders are a big problem, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's like giving a kid candy for a bear. Bird feeders.
Yeah.
I dealt with it for years in the police department.
Mm-hmm.
So they find the bird feeder, they destroy that, eat it, and then they keep coming back because it's a free lunch.
Well, and
they don't eat the birds.
No.
And they found
too hard to catch.
Bears and
Why
animals.
go for something hard when you got something easy?
Yeah. And bears and animals will remember for a long time. They'll come back to check. I got food here once. I'm going to try it again.
That's why I keep going home.
But there's the fridge, and I can always get food here.
There was a great story about a railroad train that overturned, and it was full of sour mash for whiskey. And the bears came over to the railroad, and they were eating it, and then they were getting drunk. And so the railroad tried to cover it up. They just buried it rather than try. It was too much to clean up, so they tried burying it. And the bears kept coming back and digging it up and getting drunk.
Go home, bear, you're drunk. That's great.
That's a good one, Dan. You've come up with some good ones today.
I'm on point
fire
today.
Yeah. Anything else to add about the library?
Well, I had 2 months ago, talking with Bob, I said I would come back with the items that are most of interest to Westfield, so the most popular items at the moment. Last month, the report server was down, so I couldn't do it, but I'll quickly tell you the top 5 titles that are in most interest for Westfield residents. Interestingly, actually, I have the top 13 books, but only 2 nonfiction books made the list.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly fiction being read by Westfield right now, I guess. Number 5 was Nora Roberts' Shelter in Place. The one nonfiction book to make the top 5 was James Comey's Higher Loyalty. David Baldacci, The Fallen, is number 3. Stephen King's The Outsider, not to be confused with S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders. And then number 1, a co-collaboration between Bill Clinton and Mr. U.S. Treasury James Patterson, because he just prints his own money. The President is Missing is the number 1 most requested book.
Is that like a thriller or something?
Yeah, so it's a little thriller mystery, kind of in the vein of everything else James Patterson
Thank
writes.
you for that report, Mr. Paquette. Bruce
Next time I have
Cortis.
music for that.
Bruce Cortis, anything you want to add with the whole whip thing?
No, just a reminder about the presentation December 12th. We'll probably be doing a couple hours before that for a book signing. Hopefully the book is out late November. And probably the formal kickoff of the book will be the 12th of December. And I've looked at the agenda for the 350 speaker tour, speaker series.
There's some great
presentations, and I encourage everybody to look at that.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And that's about it.
Excellent. I want to thank my listeners and viewers, if you're watching on Channel 15 or WestfieldTV.org, for tuning in. Thanks for giving me 2 hours of your life that you're never, ever, ever going to get back. Next week on the show, Chef John Slattery. Now, it'll be the first time I've seen him in about 3 months, because I've been out.
Yeah, last time was just
the
last
last 2 months. So I have a lot of things for him. 2 weeks from now, making the list, and within the next week, Kathy, I need you to provide the topic, saying that you won the last. And then 3 weeks from now, we are into July, and that means Kathy goes away for the month.
It's just working for a living.
I secretly cry and rock myself back and forth in the corner of my room every July. But you know what that means? That means each and every week I'm going to have a different guest co-host. The first one I have coming up is going to be a humdinger. I started off as the sidekick, and now this person will be coming in to be my sidekick. I'll let y'all figure it out if you have a...
The student has become the master.
Yeah, if you know the history of my broadcasting here, I'll let you figure out who that is. And that first Tuesday, where I'll have a special guest co-host, I'm going to have somebody... you're going to be here. Make sure you have that music queued up.
It's called a teaser. If you recognize that one, you'll be all set.
Instead of my usual, I think I'm going to go out on this. Somebody from City Hall will be in that Tuesday. And then we're back, and we have you in the studio 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks from now.
Yes.
And I'll see you for making the list in 2 weeks.
Right. I'm going to be a regular here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to put you... And you're guest co-hosting in July, too.
Right. So 3 times in 1 month.
Yeah, that's going to be a blast. Going on to 9:59 in the AM. That's all I have for you. I'll Catch you next week.